Greetings and good evening. Welcome to the RoundTable. Today is Tuesday, February the 6th, 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. Boss, welcome us all. My name is Drew, and I am one of the two co-hosts of the best. No, we'll stick with the second best podcast pertaining to sports talk radio or sports talk for 2023 and 2024. 6 months of conversations. Man. 6 months of blood, sweat, and tears, 6 months of planning, 6 months of strategizing, 6 months of foregoing opportunity to spend time with your family, 6 months of grinding, and we are here, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Super Bowl week. We're about to get into how each one of these two teams are going to figure out a way, because we have Andy Reid on one side, Mike Shanahan on the other side. Both of them are brilliant offensive minds on how they plan on maximizing the resources that they have available. That is going to lead them to either Kansas City getting their fourth Super Bowl title and third in 5 years, or the San Francisco 49ers getting their sixth Super Bowl title in their historic organizational legacy. And the first since 1990, even before the other team that we're not going to talk about. So, the 49ers have been due. Allow me to introduce the person who I'm going to not only engage on this night about this conversation with, but my brother from another mother who just can't wait to get reeled in every time I talk about his team. Brother Griff.
Hey, look, I ain't about to run down that rabbit hole, man. I just want to say good evening to the RoundTable family, man. Drew, you said 6 months, man. It don't even seem like we've been doing this for 6 months. That time went by fast, man. And I tell you, this is the time of the year where, it kind of get like melancholy for me because of the end of football season, because that's my favorite time of the year. I know we got the UFL coming up, but ain't nothing like the NFL ending, man. It's like, what do I do next? I guess I'm gonna have to take a basket weaving or start looking at some lifetime movies or something.
Yes, sir, and I definitely feel you. And we've mentioned it several times throughout this 6 month journey that you and I have been on this program, or this conversation this ongoing conversation that we've been having about the NFL this year. But in years past, when February came, you had to take a hard look at what you were going to do for the rest of the spring or the rest of the winter, the spring and the early summer until football came back around. But like you mentioned, there's the USFL now, and there's streaming of multiple proportions to where you can sit down and look at the entire season play out once again, especially on the NFL Network or the NFL Red Zone, because they play back, weeks of football. But it's nothing like having the live action, right? And that is what we are here for tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the RoundTable. Welcome to tonight's conversation. I'm telling you, it's going to be a good one. We have, whether you like it or not, the preseason picks for more than a majority or plurality of NFL fans would have probably picked these two teams to be in this weekend's game, whether they were both NFL powerhouses this year or they had ebbs and flows in their season where you started scratching your head as it pertains to the Kansas City Chiefs. Shout out to my man Miles. Shout out to my man Lucas. who are avid Kansas City Chiefs fans. But at a point in the season, we was like, yo, is Kansas City even going to make the playoffs? Yes, playoffs, like Jim Mora once said. But Patrick Mahomes found a receiver in Rashad Rice. Pacheco and my man Clyde Edwards-Helaire kept doing their thing. And Travis Kelce mauled along and made enough plays early and late in the season to ensure that one, they won their division, even though they did not win their division pretty. It ensured they had at least one home playoff game. Their challenge after that was now you have to earn it. Now you have to go on the road to the 2 seed into Buffalo, who has played very well over the past several years. You've beat them in the playoffs twice, got it, but they've owned you in the regular season. And you're now going into their house. You are now the underdog as the best quarterback in the league and the best tight end in the league and one of the best coaches in the league. So Kansas City was in unfamiliar territory. Well, guess what? They took care of business in Buffalo, right? Give them kudos for that. But, man, nobody, not even you, not even I, believe that they could go into Baltimore, who was a legitimate number 1 seed, and do what they did to Baltimore. Now, I want to talk about the Baltimore scheme just for 1 minute as it pertains to what San Francisco needs to do, right? Before we even talk about the San Francisco 49ers. The Baltimore Ravens offensive game plan for the AFC Championship game against the Kansas City Chiefs showed whoever the Super Bowl opponent was going to be of what not to do. How do you think the Kansas City Chiefs, and I'm setting this up so that we can isolate the Kansas City Chiefs defense. How do you think the Kansas City Chiefs are preparing for a run game that is just as good as Baltimore's, maybe better, I don't know, but has the best running back in the NFL on the opposite side? And of course, we haven't even started talking about Debo. But what do you think the Kansas City Chiefs defense need to do, man, to give Patrick Mahomes and the offense an opportunity to make some noise?
Well, I mean, they got to figure out how to get to Purdy. And I'm gonna tell you that 49ers actually they thrive on people putting pressure on them. With all those weapons that you just mentioned, it showed when you put that pressure. And now Purdy used them legs last week, 2 weeks ago. That's just another piece that Shanahan can say, you know what, I can throw this into the game plan as well. Because normally, you ain't thinking about Purdy running the ball, and when they needed it the most, he did. Now, as far as the Ravens didn't really show anything because the Ravens didn't do their game plan. We was thinking, okay, the Ravens gonna come out here, they're gonna run the ball, they're gonna, be able to control things, and they didn't. So they really made it easy for the Chiefs. They really made that game easier for the Chiefs than it had to be. Not taking anything away from Ben and from Miles. I know but I'm telling you, that game would have been something. I think it would have been completely different if the Ravens would have stuck to what they've been doing all year, and that's running the ball. They was able to get some pressure in there and stuff like that. The game wasn't a big scoring game in that game. The defense did what they had to do, but the Ravens just they got away from what they've been doing all season. That's running the ball. And I know for a fact Shanahan ain't gonna get away from run. When he realized that he need to run the ball, because it's been a couple of games this year where he got away from it. And I want to say this too before I turn it back over to you. Not only was we scratching our heads with the Chiefs, but we were scratching our heads with the 49ers for a while too. They had about three losses back to back, plus Debo was hurt. And we didn't think that they was gonna be there for a while. And they was able to come back. So both of these teams right here, they made a whole bunch of people say, okay, I guess they made believers out of us.
Right. Yeah. I'm definitely going to put a pin in that 49er little slide when Debo was hurt, that 3-game slide when they lost to Cincinnati, Cleveland, and somebody else. But I'll talk about that a little later. But the Kansas City defense, I did not know how bad they are in the run game. Statistically speaking, They are in the bottom 5 teams against the run in certain parts of the game. And for the life of me, again, don't understand why Baltimore did not take advantage of that. But fast forward to the actual big game and what Spags has figured out how to cover up those gaps and those deficiencies in his run defense. And what he plans on bringing to the table in this weekend's game against the 49ers and Mike Shanahan's offensive game plan to incorporate not only CMC up the middle, off left tackle, off right tackle, sweep, jet sweep, swing pass, you name it. I'm pretty sure Mike Shanahan is going to have a plethora of plays for CMC to maximize his potential. But incorporating other players into the run game for San Francisco is how Kansas City is going to either have some success or get run over. I don't know. I think that with 2 weeks that Coach Spagnuolo has taken the understanding that, hey, I'm pretty sure Shanahan is not going to do what Harbaugh did and go against what actually brought him to the dance. So expect a heavy doses of CMC. Why? Because San Francisco believes they can win by running and not having to put the game into the hands of Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy has shown, not only in last weekend's game, but in other key games this season, that he can lead his team in late game situations. So I think Shanahan has that in his back pocket. And you're going to see a heavy dose in the first half of CMC, Deebo Samuel with sweeps, short passes, Kittle, short passes, who is, if not the best blocking tight end in the NFL, one of the best blocking tight ends in the NFL, which is just another version of a small left or right tackle, depending on where he's lined up at and where the play is called to run. So the Kansas City defense is the difference maker in this game. Not the Kansas City offense, not Patrick Mahomes, not Purdy, not the San Francisco offense, not the San Francisco defense. This game is going to be decided by the Kansas City defense. If they show up like they showed up against Baltimore, Kansas City has a very good shot at winning this game. But if they show up like they played against the Raiders, where they got gassed, they gonna get.
I'm gonna throw this out there. I'm gonna throw this out there at you too, though. And I think Spagnuolo up front, he gonna see how effective his blitz can be, because he like to blitz. He like to bring pressure. But depending on how they utilize, which I just feel like the 49ers got more weapons than the Ravens do. If you really look at what Lamar had, really all Lamar had was Zay Flowers and Zay Flowers and Likely didn't do much. And then when Zay did a couple of crazy things, then they got OBJ involved. But that offense that the 49ers run, man, with Kittle, with McCaffrey, with Deebo, which Deebo done showed us he healthy, with Ayuk. I mean, he got way more weapons, man, and plus he got his legs. Yeah. I just think that Spagnuolo gonna try to bring that heat first to see if he can shake him. But that's going to be the determining factor. That's going to help the Chiefs out. If the Chiefs can get home, if they can throw Purdy off a little bit, we probably have a close game, man. But I don't see Shanahan getting away from the run. As a matter of fact, CMC get better as the game go on. He get better. Deebo, and you already know they're going to incorporate Deebo in the run. Shucks, he either with a jet sweep or whatever.
Let's focus on the San Francisco offense for a minute, right? We've mentioned all of the weapons that they have, and you've heard the back and forth about how valuable Brock Purdy is. Is Brock Purdy the guy moving this train, or is Brock Purdy just on the train? I've had an opportunity over the past couple of weeks to really kind of dig into this young man's performance. And all the way, I've gone all the way back from when he first became the starter back last year and how he has performed, how he has progressed, his setbacks, and whether or not, the tag of game manager, which everybody agrees that he is. I don't know
Yeah.
why people have turned that into a bad thing.
Yeah.
And what I've said about him in the past, right? And I've always said that Brock Purdy is a very good football player. He is just a product of the system. He fits perfectly in Mike Shanahan's system. He has been the best quarterback that has been able to execute and facilitate that system. But I tell you what, man, when I say that Brock Purdy is a very good football player, emphasis on football player, right? This young man has taken an opportunity where I was literally the last cat picked, the last cat selected, and turned that into I am in the big dance, just like Joe Burrow was year 2. I could have been there year 1 if I hadn't got knocked out of the NFC Championship game. So maybe I'm not just lucky to be here. Maybe I'm like stepping into to a comfortable situation, but I am humble enough, I am hungry enough to understand that I still have to play within the system and play within the limitations that I have set for myself. This dude just might be, I don't know, man. I
Drew, I've been telling you all season. I don't care what I mean. I already told you it was time that you was bashing him. I told you got to put some respect on that man's name. The thing about it is the only people that, and Troy brought up a good point. Aren't all quarterbacks game managers unless you want a Brett Favre that's gonna force some stuff or whatever. But at the end of the day, they all game managers. That's what you want, somebody that can manage the game.
No.
Hey, Tom Brady, as much I can hear you. You can let me finish my point first, man. I didn't let you. I didn't let you. Can I retort? Is that a word? Can I get
Yeah, it is. It is.
So what I'm saying is, Tom. A lot of people don't want to say that, but Tom Brady was a game manager. Now he'll show up when he needs to show up, but he didn't do nothing stupid to lose the game. That's why I call a game manager. Brett Favre. You love him when he on, but you hate him when he messing up. Tony Romo, love him, but Tony will try to force some stuff. As far as I'm concerned, man, Brett Purdy is the guy that he was in college. Purdy is the guy that he's always been. Everybody else done talked about him, all of the commentators and stuff. But I don't see him as Mr. Irrelevant no more. That was last year. That's old news. He ain't no Ricky no more. This dude that he didn't show that he can do. And not only has he showed that he can play, he didn't show that he's more than a game manager because he didn't have to do some things that, hell, I done seen some game managers can't do. Get outside the pocket and run the ball. He didn't throw some dimes where we say game managers can't throw dimes. This joking to throw some dimes this year. He ain't just been dinking and dunking, especially in the last like 5 weeks. So, I mean, yeah, he had to win a game when Debo was out with the shoulder and stuff. So, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I'm pulling for him. Everybody else, I love anytime you can make all the commentators look stupid. All of them. When you can make the Stephen A's of the world look like they don't know what they're talking about, the Kyler Hurds of the world don't know what they're talking about. It's a beautiful thing for me. And to see this dude doing what he's doing, I think he's gonna be okay. Brock Purdy gonna be around for a while.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. Yeah. And the only thing that gave me that moment of pause during the regular season was when they had that 3-game slide, when Debo was hurt, when Williams was hurt, the left tackle.
Yeah.
And he wasn't able to get any dubs, but he did lead his team to that late fourth quarter drive for that game-winning kick against Cleveland. It wasn't his fault that the kicker missed it. He's definitely not a middle of the road quarterback. He is top 10 legit in the NFL.
Miles said they got a GoFundMe account to pay for his rent. because you know he like hey, it's jokers that ain't even playing making more money than Brock Purdy.
I know. And poor thing, you know, he live in California where the state tax is just as much as your paycheck. So, you know, he really ain't making no money. But he gonna get a lot of endorsements after this season. So he gonna be good. He gonna be good off the field. No worries about that. All right. He probably gonna get some appearances in some movie. But transitioning from all right. Purdy has officially arrived as a legitimate Super Bowl contender. Mike Shanahan knows that he can trust his quarterback. He can trust his quarterback with the entire playbook.
Mm-hmm.
Looking at all of the weapons that you just mentioned, how does San Francisco make this not even a competitive game?
Again,
if everybody stays healthy and nobody gets hurt in the game.
Keep Patrick Mahomes off the field, control the clock. Can't do it with field goals. You're going to have long drives. You need to be at the end of those long drives that need to be touchdowns. And you got to capitalize off whatever mistake that they do on the other side of the ball. They really want to make this a game where it ain't close. They got to capitalize. They got to control the ball. They got to keep Patrick Mahomes off the field. Because if he on the field, anytime Pat on the field, the Chiefs got a chance.
Yeah. Just ask Buffalo. So what I hear you saying is that Chris McCaffrey gonna have at least 25 carries.
If he don't have at least 25, then I think they didn't went away from the script. I think they didn't went away from the game plan. I think that they know that they can do that, especially when the Chiefs also got some. I mean, one of their D linemen is out. I think he got an ACL. He having an ACL surgery this week. One of their D linemen is the one that was crucial. So they're gonna be kind of light up front. And so if they really want to, and McCaffrey is dangerous, whether or not you handing the ball or you throwing them screens and stuff out the backfield. All he needs is the ball in his hand, and then he create the rest. So run the ball until the Chiefs can show me that they can stop it. Again, like the Lions. Think about it. The Lions stop running the ball.
What I really hear you saying is that if San Francisco wins this game, CMC is going to be the Super Bowl MVP because he's going to have at least 25 carries, at least 100 plus rushing yards, probably 40 to 60 passing yards, and a touchdown or two. That's what you're saying?
He's going to have at least one rushing and one receiving touchdown in this game.
Okay. I can rock with that, and I can understand that. You know, and I look at it as they're definitely going to run the ball, especially in the first half. They're going to test that Kansas City front seven as often and as much as, you know, the drives allow them to. And it'll give Brock Purdy an opportunity to settle down and work those nerves out. Because this is the Super Bowl. This is not just another football game.
Yeah,
all right. Where you have hundreds of millions of people watching your every move. So I think Debo, Kittle, maybe a little bit of IU on the outside. I think they're going to take a deep shot early just to stretch the defense a little bit because Kansas City will know that San Francisco is going to attempt to run the ball. So they're probably going to cheat up a little bit. All right, so Purdy will probably, you know, take a deep shot, first or second drive, to give everybody an opportunity to stretch their legs, and then you're gonna just keep running it right up the middle with CMC until Kansas City, like you said, shows that they're able to stop that. All right, so before we look at the San Francisco defense and Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City offense. Man, since we last spoke last Tuesday, there have been a couple of happenings in the NFL, a couple of happenings in your own division, with your second favorite team, or Lionel Richie's former team, as you like to call them.
The Commodores.
The Commodores, right? They found a new head coach who just so happened to be calling plays for another team you're very familiar with, the Dallas Cowboys, your former defensive coordinator, Dan Quinn, and very interesting selection for the offensive coordinator. One, you expected Dan Quinn to be gone, right? Or were you looking forward to Dan Quinn coming back?
Nah, I knew he was going to be gone. I knew he was either going to go to the Commodores or to the Seahawks. But he ended up within and stayed within the division. He was a consolation prize because they didn't get who they wanted because Ben Johnson elected to stay with the Detroit Lions. The offensive coordinator for the Detroit Lions elected to stay. That's who they wanted. But that offensive coordinator selection is the one. And it's a lot of, storylines behind them selecting Kings because, he coached Caleb Williams. And it might be a move that Caleb Williams is sitting there to maybe bring him because they're saying that, the Commanders is looking for a quarterback in this round. I think, which is kind of crazy to give up on Sam Howell already. But I know that Quinn ain't picked this guy. The offensive coordinator is good with quarterbacks. I just think that it was issues with Bieniemy in that offense. People talked about it. I seen a lot of the fans talk about it. But Bieniemy tried to make the Commanders a passing team when they was built the running ball and they didn't do that this year. And I think with Cliff coming in as the offensive coordinator, Dan Quinn with that defensive mindset, which he actually got some beef. He got some bigger boys over there on that Redskin defense that he had. I said Redskins, my bad. On the Commanders defense that he had with them Cowboys. So yeah, definitely some major moves since we last talked, man.
Yeah.
He took several of my coaches. Several of my coaches that went up there with him. Because
that's a very interesting thing. Yeah. You said you were expecting Dan Quinn to depart the Cowboys. Okay, so y'all kind of had that in your back pocket. You already have in mind whoever Jerry Jones is going to select as a defensive coordinator. And I did say Jerry Jones. I did not say Mike McCarthy.
Hey, you see the screen, man? Hey, look at the screen right fast, man. Hey, Fred say you went lasted the whole 26 minutes before you said something about the Cowboys, man. That was a new.
The only reason I said something about those Cowboys, how about them? Y'all not them boys anymore, by the way, was because of the coach. So, Fred, I thought you were a Chiefs fan. Why are you talking about the Cowboys?
Hey, Fred is a free agent, man. Whoever win the Super Bowl, that's what colors Fred gonna be having on this weekend. Come Tuesday, that's what he gonna be winning, man. Whoever wins.
Oh, I'm not mad at you, Fred. But no, Dan Quinn taking a couple of the coaches, replaceable.
Yeah, I like
with Cliff Kingsbury. With Cliff Kingsbury, having that relationship with Caleb Williams and being hired as the offensive coordinator, I don't know what to make of that. Because when has he ever, in his entire career as a coach, whether it be at Texas Tech, the Arizona Cardinals, or any other position that he has held where he has produced success? I got it. He's a good offensive mind because he was a gunslinger in college as a quarterback and in his young career in the NFL, but his schemes don't usually transfer into team success. They're good for putting up stats depending on who's under center, right? If you have a mobile quarterback and Caleb Williams just so happens to be a mobile quarterback. And the only reason that they will go away from Howell is that Caleb Williams is a local kid, right? Grew up and went to high school in D.C. So, and him not wanting to go to Chicago, I kind of understand because we all see what Chicago has done to quarterbacks in the past forever.
Hey, You acting like the Commanders ain't did the same thing to quarterbacks.
I mean, Joe Theismann was quarterback for the Commanders, man. They did win another Super Bowl with somebody else. Doug Williams was with the.
Well, you done had to go all the way back to pull a Doug Williams. I'm talking the last. Let's look at the last 10 quarterbacks. Let's just look at the last 10 they had. They done had like 10 quarterbacks in the last maybe 2-3 years.
I hear you, man.
It's all good, man. That's your attack dog over there.
Man, that's them two Rockwallers that I got sitting by my bed that I feed Lima Echo Alpha Delta whenever they are around. All of 5 pounds, right?
No, man. So they say Troy just showed that Greg Roman just got selected to be the offensive coordinator for the Chargers.
So who is the offensive coordinator for the Las Vegas Raiders is the big question.
Well, hey, they thought they was getting Cliff. That's originally who they thought they was getting. So I don't know, man. Eric Bieniemy is still out there, man. It'll be nice to see it. I don't know what that
Eric Bieniemy, man. Eric Bieniemy. I'm glad you brought up Eric Bieniemy.
He's still out there, bro.
I'm glad you brought up Eric Bieniemy. Why is Eric Bieniemy still out there? Why is Eric Bieniemy still out there as an offensive coordinator who seems to have to prove himself every single year, even though he got chips with the greatest quarterback of this generation? Hey! What my damn nerves, man.
To let you know who the boss is.
Anyways, why is Eric Bieniemy still trying to prove his worthiness to become a head coach in this league?
I don't know, Drew. I mean, I don't know what's going on as far as the interview room and stuff like that. I've heard that he's not a great interviewer. I've heard that and it ain't just the interviewing. I've heard that, for every one person that like him in the locker room, there's a whole bunch of people that don't. Maybe because he attached to some ways of doing things like he did in the past. But I've heard that, he's not, everybody don't like him in the locker room.
So
he said the Raiders.
And as soon as you said everybody don't like him in the locker room, the first person that popped into my head was DeMeco Ryan. Why did Houston have such a huge turnaround in such a short amount of time? Was because of the coach, the philosophy, and the atmosphere that he creates in the locker room. Man, we've gone from we are here to win chips and we are going to adhere to the letter of the law that has been established to if the locker room atmosphere is not where it needs to be, we are just going to not perform as professionals.
It's the society that we live in now, man. Just think the military. I mean, when the last time you talked to some of your former soldiers that's leaders now in the military? It is what it is, man.
Yeah, I got you. I'm not talking about the difference in generational, way of thinking or the way of doing things. I'm just talking about. I'm paying you to do a job, and you're not doing that job.
Yeah, true.
I don't want to get into the semantics of it. I'm all I'm saying is Eric Bieniemy should not have to prove himself over and over again. Forget the interview. That to me right now at this point, the interview, he doesn't interview well. That's a cop-out, right? Because all it is this coach having a conversation with a GM on how he plans to manage this billion-dollar entity. That's all.
But they communicate.
We're talking football, But anyways, man.
Think about this. Think about this before we move on. They communicate, though. And I got it. We can sit and say, well, not just the interview, but trust and believe. It's something that we not seeing. It's something that we not privy to. But I'm telling you, this guy just wouldn't be out there on the market like that. With his pedigree, what we know about him, as far as his offensive coaching success, he just wouldn't be out there unless there's some stuff out there we just don't know about.
You're absolutely correct in this aspect. Who is the Detroit offensive coordinator that decided to stay at home instead of
Ben
coming to work?
Johnson. Ben Johnson.
Ben Johnson has what on his resume as compared to Eric Bieniemy?
But
One
okay,
playoff,
let's
two
talk about.
playoff, two playoff
Here's
wins,
the thing.
and turn
Here's the
a
thing,
team
Drew.
around.
It gets back to us. Bieniemy is when I think Bieniemy, I think old school. I think, like we say, Bill Belichick don't have a job right now. Pete Carroll don't have a job. Vrabel don't have a job right now. All of the old school people. It's like if you look with all the hires, basically, all these owners then went into a different mindset. They got younger coaches out there. They bring in new people. So that's what I say when I say the reason why, they looked at Ben Johnson compared to looking at Bieniemy.
No, you're absolutely right. And I harped on Bieniemy tonight for a specific reason. It is as we close this issue out, the comparison of him not getting the job you think he should have when we have completely forgot about the greatest coach of all time with 6 chips in his pocket who can't get a job either. The NFL has changed. The NFL of last year is no longer. It is the new NFL where it is fresh minds, fresh philosophy, fresh way of doing things because these billionaires want innovation, and I want you to be able to produce what the Houston Texans produced this year for me because I just spent X number of billions of dollars investing into this team. So you're absolutely right. The young, fresh mind with the new philosophy of inclusivity, so to speak, by allowing these players to be themselves. That's why Mike Tomlin has been so successful for so long. Is the reason that these other older generational coaches are getting phased out just quietly. All right, man, let's get back to this game
Okay.
this weekend.
Okay.
Now, we done touched on the Kansas City defense, touched on the San Francisco offense. I want to talk about the San Francisco defense and how Nick Bosa, Chase Young, Warner, Greenlaw, and Ward and the rest of the San Francisco defense are going to stop the best quarterback in the history of the National Football League this weekend. Yes, Miles, I did say Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the history of the National Football League. But how do Chase Young and Nick Bosa meet up at the water cooler and say, look, young man, we're not having that this weekend. Not here.
What's that, Drew? I was sitting up here reading one of these comments.
Yeah, I was looking at the Commodore's comment as well. So how does the San Francisco defense limit Patrick Mahomes' success? Limit Patrick Mahomes' ability to get to Kelsey and do what they do. And shut down Pacheco.
That's the key. The first thing is being able to stop the run. We done seen that the 49ers, as good as that defense is, you can run on them. And we probably wouldn't even be talking about the 49ers if a certain team would have just kept running the ball instead of trying to do something they ain't have to do. So if they can stop Pacheco, now you forcing Pat Mahomes to try to get some of them other guys that have not really been showing up for him all season to try to help win the game. Having Bosa on one side, having Chase Young on the other side, I can see the pressure coming. They got to make sure that they got to keep Patty in the middle. They can't let Patty, get around scrambling. But I'm telling you, man, I just that right tackle for the Chiefs, I think they're gonna be able to expose that dude, man. I think Joey Bosa gonna get at least 2 or 3 false starts from him and a couple of holding, man. That's gonna be the problem.
Yeah. I was waiting for you to bring up that right tackle. It's like, there you go, right there. San Francisco is the better team, ladies and gentlemen. If y'all didn't know that, San Francisco is the better team of these two teams. They are better on offense because they have more talented playmakers on offense who have shown throughout the year that they can make those big plays at any point in any situation and in any game. And on defense, they have more speed, they have more depth, and they can go from sideline to sideline with the fastest player on the Kansas City team, whoever that person may be. The linebackers can run with them. So San Francisco's defense should be able to stop the run. But why they haven't been able to stop the run, like you mentioned, Griff, it kind of baffles the mind, right?
The teams that beat them, this year was able to run the ball. That's all I'm gonna say.
Right up the middle. And guess what Pacheco does very well? Right up the middle.
That joke
And he runs with vengeance in his heart, right? He be looking to hit you. So Ward better have his head on a swivel. So I definitely see the Kansas City offense having some struggles in the passing game. Not because of the fumbleitis that the receivers may have because of the gravitas of this game and you know all of the doubt that is associated with that receiving core. Rashid Rice, though, is a rookie. He don't care. He ain't never been there before. I'm just happy to be here. It's my time to shine. I think if Patrick Mahomes is able to connect with him and is given the amount of time that he needs by that offensive line and maybe keep an extra tight end in to provide a little bit of coverage for 74, that right tackle, then I think he'll be able to find Rice. I think he will be able to find Kelsey because Kelsey, like I mentioned on multiple other shows, is unguardable. He can find that pocket. Whether you want to go man to man, you don't want to do that because he's bigger and just as fast as the opposite team safety and very aggressive. Or if you play zone, he will find that pocket. So, man, Kansas City should struggle. They should struggle. But trust and believe San Francisco is going to give them opportunities to have some offensive success. So I don't look for San Francisco defense to dominate this game. I don't look for the San Francisco defense to have a huge impact on this game, like a key turnover, a key sack. They may get to Mahomes, as you mentioned, and keep him in the middle. But his escapability is he be taking some dance lessons in the offseason. So he's going to get his yards just like Purdy is going to get his yards. Both of these quarterbacks are going to be able to scramble and probably get 30 rushing yards over the span of the game. So I think it's going to be a back and forth between these two, offense for Kansas City and defense for San Francisco. You think San Francisco going to make the key play?
I think the key is stopping the Chiefs from running the ball. If you can stop the Chiefs from running the ball, San Francisco going to be okay because Mahomes he like to force stuff sometimes, and when he get into that mode where he got to try to force some stuff sometimes, it's going to put them on their heels. I want to send a big shout out. We got a new from YouTube, Leaky. I just seen him. I don't know if you've seen that comment from Leaky.
I see.
But he a new subscriber, so I just want to say, Leaky, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you. You got quite a few Raider fans here. You and Troy, y'all might combine or whatever. I think Scott on here. Scott is a Raiders fan too, but yeah, I just think the key for the 49ers is stopping the run. If they can stop Pacheco and put it all on Mahomes' arm, which means that if they can stop the run, what's going to be next is pressure. And you put pressure on Mahomes, you know what happens. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm glad you ended your commentary by doubting Mahomes and saying pressure. Let's talk about Mahomes and what Mahomes needs to do to make sure that they go back and forth just as they are receiving or taking it from the San Francisco defense. they are giving it and handing it to the San Francisco defense. What does Mahomes need to do? Does he just need to play within the offense, or does Mahomes need to put on the Superman cape and just get out there and do what he needs to do to, one, keep his team in the game in the first half and withstand any defensive lapses that his defense might have, and get a couple of touchdowns, like you mentioned. Can't get field goals. Get a couple of touchdowns in the first half to ensure that when the fourth quarter comes, they don't have to be playing from behind, trying to come back and, pull out a miracle. You think, like I mentioned earlier, that him and Rice, him and Kelsey will be able to connect on the passing game? We already touched on the run game, right? Will they be able to have some offensive success? What you think?
I would never doubt Patrick Mahomes. And let me make that perfectly clear for Dennis and for Ben and them. The brother then proved that if it's a will, it's a way. He been there. I wouldn't count him out. I know that Kelsey is going to get that ball. I know Rice is going to get that ball. And I have to say, Vadell Scanlon and Watson, the last couple of weeks, that actually showed up. Now, the troublemaker, they don't know whether or not he going to play this week. Our favorite player, Tony, but he's on the roster right now, and they say he's going to be a game time decision. But, I think Tony going to be traded at the end of the season. But Patrick Mahomes always got his cape on, bro. And so you can never, ever, like I say, count that dude out. He going to find some plays. I just think that he going to, you're going to have to put that pressure on him. And if you put that pressure on him, Patty will throw an interception.
Yeah, Ben said that, San Francisco is going to double team Travis. You don't want to do that. You don't want to do that, man. You don't want to do that because when you double team Travis Kelce, I got it. You take him out of the play, but you create other holes that you give the quarterback, who just so happens to be the best quarterback in the league, an opportunity to find multiple options. It's damned if you do.
I've seen teams all season trying to double Kelsey, and then that's how the Watsons and the whatever his name is. That's how they get open opportunities. But I don't think Patrick Mahomes gonna be going for no playbook anyway. Him and Kelsey be playing street ball. They be playing backyard football.
And we know once you start playing street ball or backyard football, that's when it starts working. That's when it just starts clicking, right? You start seeing plays before they even happen. So this is what I believe that Patrick Mahomes is going to do in the first few drives. I won't say the first couple, but the first 3 drives, within the first 3 drives, he is going to attempt to have one of those early miraculous plays, which is going to set the tone for the rest of the game for him, his team, his coach, and the San Francisco defense. I think that the Kansas City offense is going to have a lot of offensive success in this game. I do not believe that the San Francisco defense is going to be that dominant defense that you expect. You gave Andy Reid 2 weeks to pick apart your defense. I got it. The San Francisco defense is very good. You gave Andy Reid 2 weeks to pick apart your defense. That's all I'm going to say. And like you mentioned, Patrick Mahomes, you never want to count him out. He always has the cape on. You mentioned putting pressure on him. Very interesting stat I saw this week. And it goes directly to your pressure comment. In the Super Bowl, in the 3 Super Bowls that he's played in, he's thrown 5 touchdowns. He's thrown 4 interceptions, right? In 3 games, 5 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. In the 17 playoff games in each one of those years, he's thrown like 35 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. The pressure gets dialed up, especially in that Tampa Bay game.
He won 3.
Right? And that is when he takes those chances, throwing across his body, across the middle, as he's getting thrown into the ground, and just throws up a Hail Mary when he doesn't have to. So that is when the opportunity is going to be there for the San Francisco defense to create those turnovers. I think that Andy Reid is going to keep a tight end right next to that left tackle or that right tackle. And every time Nick Bosa line up to come, I'm going to chip him either with the tight end, the running back coming out of the backfield, a guard switching up. I'm going to have this covered as it pertains to providing an additional resource just to provide some protection to give Mahomes enough time that he needs to carve this defense up. Because Detroit showed San Francisco is not the San Francisco early season. They are not. So I look for Mahomes to just do what he do and continue to have playoff Mahomes type of stats. What you think?
I look for all I want is a good game, man. I don't want to get too much because we still got Friday to talk about. So I don't want to do too much more, man. I think we're gonna have a good game. I think by Friday we'll have some clarity on who all playing, who not playing, and we can go a little further deeper dive and what the outcome gonna be, as well as give our picks on Friday as well.
Yeah. On Friday night show, I want to isolate on specific players and who the difference makers are going to be, right? And what this player, we touched on CMC with his stats tonight. On Friday night show, I want to do that specifically for the other players, whether they be on offense or on defense or on the sideline, right? Because I want to give the coaches their just due. We keep saying both of these coaches are great offensive minds. They both led their teams to the Super Bowl. This is a rematch of Super Bowl 54. Just 5 short years ago, or 4 short years ago, these teams were playing each other. Oh, excuse me. So
get you a sip, man. Get you a sip.
I know, right? So this is going to be a game of chess on epic proportions. Again, San Francisco is the better team. Kansas City has the experience. Kansas City has the best quarterback in the National Football League. Kansas City has excellent playmakers. San Francisco is the better team. So which one comes out on top? We will go into it, man.
The Swifties, man. You forgot that Kansas City also got Taylor Swift, man. We cannot not talk about football and don't talk about Taylor, man.
Man, I'm gonna give Tay and them a little bit of love tonight, but I'm gonna give them more love on Friday, or they're just attention if they require any on Friday when I talk about Travis Kelce, right? Because he's definitely gonna be part of my what Kansas City needs to do to win. But
so Troy
asks,
Troy asks, who you think is the better offensive coach, Andy Reid or Shanahan? Offensive mind.
Andy Reid, man. Andy Reid. Shanahan comes off the Andy Reid tree, who comes off of Shanahan's tree, his dad. But they all come off of the Bill Walsh tree. So one, Andy Reid has done it in multiple locations. Got it. Shanahan did as well. But Shanahan did blow a 28-3 lead.
He did the defense.
In the Super Bowl. No, when you had Matty Ice throwing when Matty Ice should have been turning around and handing the ball off, that was not very good coaching.
I got you, man. That was a defensive collapse, though. Still, you up there?
Who was that defensive? Who was the head coach?
His name was Dan Quinn.
You see how everything comes full circle. You see how everything comes full circle, man. I tell you, I 2 more shows left, man.
Man, I have, man. It's
as my man Chuck Woolery used to say, 2 and 2. You remember that show?
Season though, man. It's been a good season. I can tell you that, man. And the RoundTable people, y'all definitely, everybody from the RoundTable has definitely made these 6 months seem like they've been short as hell. This has probably been the shortest 6 months in my life, man. It went by so fast. Couldn't have did it without the RoundTable crew, though.
Yes, sir.
Man, say you over there sipping on that Jesus juice.
sipping on my scissor. You got any parting shots, or were those your parting shots for the night?
Hey, as always, man, thank everybody for showing up again. Looking forward to talking about this game a little bit more on Friday. So don't forget to show up. Same bat time, same bat channel. Come on here and chat it up with me and Drew. Be prepared to talk about the different players too. As we get to Friday and even the show after the Super Bowl, we looking to bring some of the round table on to come on here and chat with us. So just be prepared, just in case we say, hey, we're gonna send you this link and jump on. Be ready.
Yes, sir. Definitely looking forward to that. And I will save the Super Bowl related comments for Friday night show. I want to kind of do a quick recap of the past 6 months in the NFL season, man. It has been a very entertaining season, a surprising season, a disappointing season for some of us, a lot of us fans, depending on who our team is, the primary team that we support. You've had your highs, your lows, your conversations, your frustrations, and your breakthrough players who have grabbed the bull by the horn, so to speak, and taken control of their young NFL career in a way to where they are making a mark for themselves. And a lot of teams, especially those teams that made it to the playoffs, regardless of how they performed in the playoffs, it's only going to be 2 teams in the end. So even out of the 14 teams that make the playoffs, 12 of them are going to be very disappointed until Sunday. So you were good enough to make it to the final 14. So you obviously were doing a lot of things right. You just have to ensure that as an organization, you continue to strive to want to get better and make the decisions that, one, improves your team, but ensures that your fan base doesn't continue to receive heart attacks that a lot of fan bases continue to receive. And we saw a lot of that this season, man. And it was a pleasure and a joy coming on here every Tuesday and every Friday to have this conversation with you and with the entire RoundTable audience. As Griff mentioned, it is because of you all that we are able to feed off of each other and feed off of the feedback that you are providing us in real time, checking our credibility, checking our knowledge, and checking to make sure that we are not allowing the loyalty of Roll Tide. It's been a long 6 months. You lost a coach, you lost a national title because you did it to yourself. It's been a long season, man. You won the division as a NFL East team. You've proven that you are one of the best 4 teams in the NFL as an organization for the Dallas Cowboys. But you did what you usually do, which is to disappoint. Nobody should be surprised, but yet it's still y'all are surprised. I, on the other hand, had high expectations when I found out that the player formerly known as Derek Carr for my man Troy's Las Vegas Raiders team came down to New Orleans and was going to be the savior. I don't know why that I believe that Dennis Allen deserved to have the job for another year. But my Saints did what they usually do, and they disappoint, just like Homer Simpson said. Don't. But, man, I tell you, every Tuesday, every Friday, as you say, I look forward to this hour that everyone usually affords us, and it's a pleasure. Has been a pleasure. I said that I'm going to give the shout out to the audience every sign off until we sign off after the Super Bowl. Again, I want to thank y'all. I surely want to thank Roger Craig for his continued support, the sponsorship for the show, the 2 gift cards that he has provided for both the NCAA National Championship and the Super Bowl. So don't forget to get at Roger with the Keys, regardless of whether you are in the El Paso area or any other continental United States. Easy plug for you there, brother. So again, thank you all for joining us on not only tonight's show, but the entire season. Looking forward to Friday night's show, the show before the show. 6 months, as we mentioned in the opening, 6 months, as we mentioned in the closing. It all comes down to this one weekend, brother. Our teams aren't in it, but man, this is going to be an exciting game. All right,
sir.
so y'all take care of yourselves this week. Do something nice for yourselves. Do something nice for your family. And please do something nice for somebody that you don't even know. And look, Griff is back at home. Hopefully that's his last travel plans, well, at least until after the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I ain't going nowhere till after the Super Bowl. And then that's leisure. I'm going on a retiree golf thing next month. But I ain't got no travel schedule. All my facilitation is right here in Houston.
Okay, I feel you. So you golf?
Yeah, man. You know, hey, you know, that's what we do, man. You know, you got to pick up new habits when you retire, bro.
I hear you, man. I hear you.
Play football and swing the baseball bat no more. So I do the golf and bowling. They're my games right there.
Oh, I just envisioned it in my head. Anyway, man, y'all have a blessed week. Y'all be breezy.